Week 10, I got my boom plays, sleepers, and streamers coming at you right now. Now, first up for my boom play for week 10, it goes to Tyrone Tracy. Find a way to get this guy in your starting lineups. I don't care if it's your flex, your running back 2, or even your running back 1 with some notable teams on bye. You have to find a way to get him in against this Panthers defense, where we know they are god-awful against the running back position when they allow the most fantasy points per game. And this is maybe a game where the Giants may get up. They may be having a productive offense where they're going to be up in scoring in that second half of the part of the game where they're going to have to be running the ball a ton. So I'm expecting a lot of volume out of Tyrone Tracy. Devin Singletary has not gotten the keys back in terms of snack percentage since returning back from injury. This is Tyrone Tracy's backfield. Get him in those lineups for week 10, people. Now to get into my sleepers for week 10, Demarcus Robinson comes up off of the waiver wire into my starting positions, and I understand on paper that Miami Dolphins have been stingy to wide receivers so far this season because that defense is still pretty damn good, but this is where things get a little sticky. You have Cooper Kupp to worry about. You have Puka Nacua to also worry about. So with the distractions on this defense, Demarcus Robinson, just like last week, sneaks in and finds his way into the end zone. Now, this isn't something out of the abnormal for him to be heavily targeted in that red zone. He's actually leading the Rams since 2023, wide receivers and tight ends included in that discussion, in end zone targets. So Matthew Stafford understands that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are going to be covered. They're going to be the main focus. And if Puka Nacua ain't on the field, Cooper Kupp becomes the even more main focus. And that's what makes Demarcus Robinson so damn dangerous like he was last week for that game-winning touchdown to seal the deal. And now going into another sleeper. You see how I didn't do a transition there? Because Jonnu Smith is also another huge sleeper, probably living and breathing on the waiver wire for you with huge opportunity to light it up this week against this Rams defense who cannot stop tight ends from having productive days. They are allowing the second most fantasy points per game to tight ends in back-to-back seasons, by the way. And Sean McVay used to be a tight end coach with the Washington Commanders, so I'm not too sure why he cannot figure out a way to stop tight ends from being so damn good against our defense. So put him in those starting lineups. You get him off the waiver wire as a plug and play because there are some notable tight ends on bye. Got Brock Bowers on bye, David Njoku on bye. You have to figure out how to pivot very quickly. And Jonnu Smith has the opportunity to put up big points because in the last 3 games, he's averaged 12 fantasy points per game. And he has a high target per route rate. So therefore, I'm going to be finding a way to get Jonnu Smith in my starting lineups for Monday Night Football. Now to get into my week 10 streamers, some guys that you might want to hold on to for the next couple of weeks. And Jatavian Sanders for the Panthers is a guy that comes up on my radar. You have some notable tight ends coming up on buys, and the fantasy playoffs are around the corner. This week we have David Njoku, Tucker Kraft, Brock Bowers, and then next week he has the bye. This may be the bye window just based on the volume he's been getting. There's room for more opportunity for him, being that Deontay Johnson's on the way, and Jonathan Mingo, for some reason, ended up in Dallas. So therefore, there's more opportunities on the table. And as of late, Bryce Young has been improving in performance and creating a great connection with Jatavian Sanders as of late. And look, I'm honestly saying this guy's an athletic tight end. The guy can get upfield, stretch the field. There is some production here. And I'm telling you now to jump on him this week where he could possibly help you out and for future weeks on chasing that playoff position. Now I got another sleeper for you, man. Now, do we remember when Adam Troutman showed up and showed out in week 8 and put up tight end 1 numbers? You may not, because nobody had him rostered or started him that week. So obviously there were going to be availability there for him in fantasy leagues. He's probably like a 1% rostership. If I'm going to be streaming some tight ends that just has a name, that has cleats, and has a helmet, and he's a tight end in the fantasy streets, we're down bad at the tight end position with some notable guys on bye, like I've mentioned before earlier in this video. You could swing and pivot to put him as a plug and play this week against the Chiefs, where they allow a ton of production to the tight end position, a ton of yards and a ton of catches in PPR leagues. This is what matters to us. And when the fantasy streets are down bad at the tight end position, I'm just looking for 10 points from this guy. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and put up tight end 1 numbers where it's like 20, 25 points. For me, I'm not greedy, man. Just give me 10. And I think Adam Troutman this week can do you justice. I had him in the starting lineups if you're hurting at the position. So this wraps up another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Leave your comments below, and I'll try to answer them all the way up until game time. You guys can follow me at Real Deal Fantasy on all social media platforms. Until next time.